Everybody, welcome back. Zach and Lachlan Sports Watch. We are back. It's been a few weeks off. Zach was sick, and then he was too busy to jump on last week because he was getting pumped by 100 points in his local footy game. Zach, why don't you talk us through your all-star performance?
Yeah, look, I wasn't too bad on the field, but the boys did go down, unfortunately. You don't want to open the season like that, losing by 100 points, do you? But there's always next week, and next week is almost here, round two. So looking forward to getting stuck in with the boys again.
Yeah, mate, you'll be fine. You'll be better. I'm sure you guys have been on the track training, so that's good.
Yes, training hard, mate.
Uh, Yeah, well, you've been doing more training than me. I've done one training session this year, so I didn't get picked,
Oh,
which I can't really hold the coach accountable for that. That's more me not rocking up. Um, yeah, no, we went okay on the weekend. Called South and West out here, and then got North and Central to do some commentary over as well. Yeah, go to the show's Instagram, then go to my Instagram, and you can listen to me if you've got nothing better to do and want to hear some local footy. Either way, speaking of football that's not local, we had gather round since last we've been on. What'd you make of
yeah.
gather round, Zach? I'm assuming you would have been.
Yes, I went to Thursday night. It just gets better every year, doesn't it? I mean, they broke the
Mm.
record for crowd attendance. I believe 270,000 people gathered around across the weekend. It was massive, obviously in Nord as well. What a stadium that is, and over in Barossa Park over there was great to see as well. We saw some good games. Gather round's just getting better and better every year, and looking to extend as well long term, which is going to be good for Adelaide as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see it going anywhere. I mean, I know we
No.
have this long, drawn out conversation each year. There was back in the media box, Peter Malinauskas is walking by, and you can just see the journos just going up to him and
Trying to get
trying
something.
to get a little bit of info, trying to work out where that deal was at. And he's squatting us away like flies. But no, everyone was pretty respectful the previous time. But yeah, no, I can't imagine it goes anywhere else. Like they're talking about building a stadium down south. That was from the advertiser, sort of just for gather round. If that happens, that'd be good fun for South Australia. It'd give us a place that's a little bit more local. Whether or not you take games off the Barossa or you take games off the Norwood, probably a combination of both.
Hmm.
I've heard people talking about extending it for another day and just having all 9 games at the Adelaide Oval. I'm not a big fan of that because then it means we don't have because then it means you don't get to experience everything that SA has to offer. But Tasmania's thrown out a few complications is the latest rumor in the deal. Obviously, 19 teams, 19 doesn't go into two evenly, and you can't cut a team in half. So it really leaves the pressure of what do you do?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think the AFL is pondering that as well, as they are a lot of things. Tasmania could be in the mix potentially. I wouldn't like to see it go down to Tasmania at all. I think Adelaide does it best, and Adelaide will do it best. I feel if you take it off Adelaide, you won't get it back here at any point because they've had their time. But I'd love to see it stay in Adelaide and stay long term, like a deal you see with the MCG in the grand final, something in that note as well.
Mm. Well, would you be open to the Crows playing Thursday and Sunday or Wednesday or and Sunday or something like that, where they open and they close gather round just for the sake of having 20 teams play and you get an extra game out of it as well?
Oh, potentially, however it works, however it stays in Adelaide, I'd be a big fan of because I enjoy myself going. I look forward to, when the season starts, it's always about, 4 weeks away. I always, pencil it in the
Mm.
Thursday night fixture. Adelaide kick it off, Port close. I like the experience. You walk into the game, Thursday night, there was, probably 18 different scarves you saw. So it's definitely different and definitely different to a lot of home games I go and see watch the Crows. I mean, for one, I'm sitting in a different area, which is great. You get a bit of an upgrade in your seats or a downgrade, however you look at it. But it's a different experience going to the Adelaide Oval where, for myself, I go for the most part every second week. So it's something I definitely look forward to in the year. So I hope it stays, and I think it will.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting one with Tassie, and I guess SA does it so well just 'cause we've got the I guess kind of location as well and how we're set out as a city. It kind of works out brilliantly. 20 minutes, that's what they say. 20 minutes from the city, and you can get just about anywhere in South
Oh,
Australia
it's
in a
beautiful,
metro
yeah.
area. Yeah. But Tassie, I wouldn't be against seeing it go down there even if it's just a second one for 1 year when they open that stadium. Give Port Macquarie its real, I guess, kind of blessing, and everyone gets to see it. Although it'd be a lot of work for 10 teams to get down there and do a gather round with only that stadium, given how far it is to get from one place to another in Tasmania.
Oh, you're definitely right. It's a bit scarce, and Launceston's right at the top, Hobart's right down the bottom. So it does take a couple of hours between both. Where would you situate gather round? Would you situate in Launceston or Hobart? You'd probably have to pick one. So it's different in that aspect towards Adelaide. But you're right. I don't think it would be the worst place to send gather round. I would be opposed to. Well, I'd be myself ruling it out to Sydney as well, Perth as well. I think. Just the fact that they're quite, I feel like Adelaide, like you said, is quite close knit.
Hmm.
The fans get around it much like, Tasmania would as well. We've seen the NBL go down there in recent years. They've really got a following down there now as well. So I think, the second best place to host gather round would potentially be Tasmania when they do come into the competition in the next couple of years.
Yeah, apologies about my phone going off there, Zach, in the middle of your answer. I was just trying to get up the results from last weekend, and I've ruined it there. I'm sorry, mate.
No, you're right.
Um, I was just going to talk here. I think we should start. Do you want to start with Saturday night footy, or where do you want to go?
I'll start with Saturday night footy. Start close
Adelaide
to
St
home.
Kilda.
Yes.
Interesting, interesting game of football to watch. St Kilda looked like they were going to go on with it at quarter time. The Crows hit back. The Saints fell off a cliff in that second quarter. Uh, as a Saints fan, frustrating to watch. Frustrating to lose the game by a point. For the Crows, I won't speak on your behalf, but for the Crows, it must be nice to really get a win.
Oh, it's great to see a result come through, especially after the week that they have had. But again, the trend lies with the Adelaide Crows. They start poor. They pick it up a little bit in the second quarter before dropping away just before half time. And to their name, one of the better three-quarter teams in the competition. They really kicked away in that quarter
Hmm.
before St Kilda came back late and finished the game probably a little bit stronger than the Adelaide Crows did.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a very fair reflection. The yeah, St Kilda, because both teams didn't play brilliantly for the entire four quarters. I
No.
think you'd have to be pretty one-sided to say that everyone played brilliantly for 120 minutes. It just wasn't the case. I think what lost St Kilda the game is when they dropped off in that second quarter, they were far more off than the Crows were. The Crows were off it in patches, but they always managed to recover. St Kilda was so far from that second quarter, they looked second rate. I don't think they touched the footy for a good 10 minutes.
Yeah, they dropped away. I think they gave up. They're leading by 26 points, but you felt in that period that the Crows were still in it, the way they were playing, the sort of way they were defending. You felt they were still in touch. And then when the Crows went out 28-point leaders, you felt that was quite a margin, and St Kilda weren't able to, I guess get that back. But then their last term was, pretty exceptional, and they brought it almost all the way back and just fell short. But um, and fall to a 2-4 start to start the season. I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit later as well. But probably a disappointing result for St Kilda, especially the way they were playing. I thought they were playing quite, exciting footy, something we're
Mhm.
not used to seeing with St Kilda. I mean, away from home, they put up 100 points against a pretty good defense of the Adelaide Crows. So that's a great positive to take away from the game, the way they were able to move the footy against a good, transition defensive side. It was great to see.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say as well done to the 45,854 people that went to the Adelaide Oval in that 12th minute to give
Yes.
to give the Dawson family their respect. I thought that was a really nice touch. I'm sure there are others that were clapping the TV in their living room, much like I was, just trying to show that mark of respect from afar. But I thought it was a really nice thing to do. In a week of tragedy, we hope we all don't have to experience, and obviously, we're wishing Geordie and his family and his brother's friends as well the best.
Absolutely well said.
The other thing I wanted to touch on, Tex Walker. He
Yes, I'm
reminds me a
glad you
little bit
went
of
here.
Jack Gunston. Now I know he's a Broken Hill boy. I'm not going to touch on that, even though I do
Just it.
every time I write an article about him. I feel like that's how I kick it off every time. Broken Hill boy, Tex Walker. Broken Hill's born and bred Tex Walker. 5 goals. He seems to
Mm.
age like fine wine. I mean, Gunston kicked 76 last year. I think Tex is already in double digits. We're only in round six. It's a pretty impressive start for the old Texan, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely wound back the clock. I mean, you go back 2 years and he had that exceptional 2 or 3 years, he had an exceptional year kicking 70 plus on the year. But I thought after the first quarter, I mean, that battle between him and Wilkie was exceptional. Wilkie was, tremendous in that first quarter. Just the way he was intercepting the ball, reading the footy, and then to turn it around for Tex and kick five in essentially 3 quarters, as he hadn't gotten near it in that first term, was quite impressive. And he was kicking from everywhere as well. The junction of the 50 and the boundary line is one that sticks out for mine. That's a very, very tough kick, and he puts it straight over the umpire's hat, does not have to move. So, I think he's kicked almost 300 goals after he's turned 30, which is just exceptional for a guy like him. So it was great to see, and a big reason why, the Crows got over the line in the end.
I couldn't agree more. I think Tex was the difference. You guys needed someone. Wilkie, it was interesting because how that battle kind of unfolded is how the game sort of unfolded. When Tex
Yeah,
was on top of Callum, it looked very much like the Crows were on top, and vice versa. The Saints were on top. So it was interesting to sort of watch that battle. It was the most fascinating matchup on the ground for mine.
definitely.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, Charlie Edwards, a
Mm.
young kid from Victoria, drafted at the Crows in 2023. We finally get to see him. What do you make of his game?
I thought he was impressive in terms of his, his clearance work. Not, I think he notched up 5 clearances, but at least three of those he was shoulders out. He was facing the forward 50 and he was hitting guys on the chest. So I thought that was most impressive. He's obviously, been made to wait in the sample, but I thought his, first goal, I think he had 18 disposals, 5 clearances is a good effort. Obviously filling in for Jordan Dawson. I think it's going to be tough now for the next few weeks to see him go out of the side in the coach's point of view.
I've just come up with a segment literally in the last 3 seconds in my
Love
head.
it.
I'm gonna throw it to you. So for
Yes.
each game we review, give me your best on ground.
Yeah.
Right now, who's your best on ground for that?
Oh, you can't go past Tex, can you? I mean, he kicks
Yeah, okay,
five
cool.
goals in a 1 point win. You can't go past the Texan after quarter time. I mean, he kicked 5 in 3 quarters. So if he actually rocked up in that first quarter, what could he have done? But yeah, Tex for mine.
Yeah, text for mine as well. This could be a segment where we agree with each other, and that's not necessarily good TV, but
No.
let's see what happens. Rightio, moving on. We're going to go to the game beforehand. Hawthorn Port Adelaide, just as
Mm.
close. 89 plays 86. A very good game of football. Hawks get over the line. So far, 1-1 between the Victorians and the South Australians for this weekend.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
what what did you make of the game?
I thought Port were very, very good, to be honest.
Hmm.
After that quarter time period, I mean, they let through 7 goals, 10 scoring shots in that opening term, mainly because of Nick Watson. I believe he kicked 3 in the first term. So, but saying that, I thought Port Stars they came to play. Horn Francis has been good. After having a bit of a blowtorch on him early in the season, his last few weeks have been
Hmm.
impressive. Again, he kicks a couple, has 4 scoring shots, has 25 plus. And Butters just does what Butters does. So, unfortunately, unlucky not to win in the end with the Georgiades miss late in the piece. I think less than 40 seconds to go. So, unlucky to miss out. But I thought Port were very, very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say I think it could have been us that played Jason Horn-Francis back into form. I'm pretty sure the last podcast we did, we asked if he was a very good player, and then all of a sudden
Yes.
he's come back in. So it was us and Sam and Mitch from Tradies because I stole the question straight off them. I'll be upfront with it. Um, yeah, look, it is an interesting game of football to have a little bit of a look at. I thought Port were unlucky not to win the game, much like you said. I thought Hawthorn though, they did enough. They beat the team that was in front of them, and sometimes that's all you can do. But yeah, I mean, you have a look through your team stats, clearances, center clearances, stoppage clearances. Port really bullied Hawthorn around the
Mm.
ball. Something we haven't seen them do for a long time. You look back to the week previous against the Dogs, it was the Hawks that were doing the bullying around the stoppage. But you really take that away from Hawthorn, you make life very difficult for them. But Hawthorn, their rucks, they were able to dominate there. Managed to find a way to win the game of footy, really just forcing turnovers and forcing intercept marks, which I guess got the job done for them in the end. But a great game of footy.
It's an exceptional game of footy at Marvel, which is a bit different for Hawthorn, isn't it? But
Mm.
yeah, very good game of footy. As I said, Port unlucky to miss out, but it's good signs moving forward for them, showing themselves that they might not be, the best in the competition or, going to sneak into that 10, but they can be, competitive against good sides, really good sides for that matter.
Yeah, it's a positive start for Josh Carr as well. It takes a little bit of a pressure off of him. We were sitting there probably the Sunday after gathering, going, okay, so Port
Mm.
have these moments. They were competitive against the Saints. They demolish Essendon. They get demolished by North Melbourne. Can they match it with the good side? We have an answer now, and that answer is yes, they can because they've matched it with Hawthorn, who look like they're going to be, right up there again this season. Best player on the ground for yours?
Just looking at it, obviously Nick Watson is an obvious one, 5 goals, but I'm going to go with my man Jason Horne-Francis. I think what he's doing in the last few weeks, I'm coming around and I'm beginning to give him his flowers. I mean, 28, kicks a couple, has 4 shots on goal. I'm liking the fact that he's spending a bit more time up the ground, through the middle of the ground, rather than that full forward spot. So Jason Horne-Francis for mine.
Yeah, I'm going Zach Butters. Butters,
Brilliant.
Butters for mine. Yeah, it was one of the two. It was Butters or Horn Francis, and probably Watson in there as well.
Yep.
But yeah, I imagine come Brownlow night in September. I've just had a flash forward. It'll be those three in some kind of order, I imagine, for the voting panel there. We should go, I think. I think we'll do all the Saturday games in a row, and then we'll touch on Thursday night's game because that was good. Gold Coast Essendon. I don't know what
Mm.
Essendon did at halftime of gather round to sort of get the kick up the bum they needed to really accelerate. They beat Melbourne and they nearly beat a very good Gold Coast side. Gold Coast survived the scare is the best way of putting it. But Essendon certainly weren't too shabby. They went with them all day, and in the end, they just ran out of steam.
Oh, absolutely. I think Essendon have, definitely turned a corner. They're becoming more competitive than, I guess, pushovers, if you like. So, I didn't get to watch this game, but just looking at it, I mean, it's more concerning for Gold Coast. I think they've given up 110 points to probably a bottom three side. That is concerning
Mm.
for mine. But credit to Essendon. I mean, they had major ball winners through the middle of the ground in their back half as well. Archie Roberts is a guy I'm really beginning to like. His ball use in that back half is exceptional. Zach Merritt is finding his best form again. 34 and a goal. Almost getting his side over the line, which is good to see after the off season he's sort of had. So, you're right. Gold Coast very, very lucky to get away with this one, playing at home as well.
Well, it's funny because if the Suns are playing anyone else, maybe with the exception of West Coast, they probably lose this game of football. They certainly weren't at the best. I think Damien Hardwick will be happy enough to just get the win. You bank the 4 points, you move on. At the end of the day, that means you bank enough points, you're going to play finals. Not to state the bleeding obvious, but yeah, it was a good game of footy to have a little bit of a look at. But Essendon's clearance dominance, and not to rely too heavily on the stats to really look through it, but 37-29 overall, centre clearances 2015, stoppage clearances 17-14. You're getting bullied by players in there. I mean, you have a little bit of a look across the clearance winners. Parrish, Cetus, and then Petrarca, Rao and Witts for the Suns. But Darcy Parish had 11 clearances. I can't remember the last time he did that.
I'm,
Again,
I'm with you.
yeah. It's that's concerning for the Suns, especially when you have a look at the teams they'll be playing most likely in finals. Hawthorn, the Western Bulldogs, Adelaide, those teams that rely, Geelong even, those teams that rely very heavily on, I guess, kind of clearance dominance, and Essendon outfoxed Gold Coast at a part of their game they've got to be better at.
Oh, definitely. It's been a concern over the last few weeks as well. I mean, they gave up 109 points to Melbourne. 100 points against Sydney, which is probably expected, but. Their ability to defend, are they going, too hard on attack, which they look brilliant at? I mean, they were still able to put up, 119 points. But, I mean, it is a bit concerning that, you're giving up 100 points week in, week out against, every team in the competition at this point. So, it is a concerning factor. Can they turn it around? Definitely they can, but it's an interesting watch. It's an interesting trend to keep an eye on for the Gold Coast Suns, that's for sure.
Yeah, just having a look here as well. Lowest rated player on the ground, Charlie Ballard. Not something you're used to hearing with him,
No.
although equal with Ben McKay, to be fair. But him, Adams, their defenders, when you have a look back through this list, are really far down the order. Andrew, Noble, the guys that you'd expect to, sort of be when Gold Coast were at their best, running and giving Gold Coast, something to work at, working up the ground, taking intercept marks. I mean, Ballard had 6 disposals for the entire game. Disappointing for the Suns, but they get the win. So at the end of the day, those two things probably balance out.
I'm sure we'll touch on the games just before we close the show, but are you giving the Bombers any chance against the Pies on a big Anzac Day clash?
Anzac Day is a funny one. It's a lot
It
like
is,
Easter
isn't
Monday
it?
where it really doesn't matter
Yeah.
in terms of I've just said the game doesn't matter. What I meant is it doesn't matter in terms of
Where
form,
where they lie on the ladder.
where they lie on the ladder. It's just always going to be. I was talking to a player out here who I'll keep nameless, but um, he was saying there's more nerves when you run out on Anzac Day, and that's only in Broken Hill. I can only imagine that's a
Oh yeah.
hundredfold when you're running out at 80,000,
Yeah.
100,000 at the
Yeah.
MCG. And the biggest game on I think the calendar minor season wise at least. I think that will play in Western's hands. Collingwood should win the game. Essendon could win the game. It's smart money's with Collingwood, as it always is, when you have a look at where they are on the ladder. But are Essendon a chance based off how they're playing the last couple of weeks? And the fact, does Scott Pendlebury play this as well? Because there's a lot of talk around he's more important to Collingwood than I think people outside the football club realise. Even still now he gives them an attacking option going forward from the midfield. He plays that sort of high half forward role really well when he's inside the forward line. I think that's when he's most damaging. But does he play this game, do you think?
I think he does. I mean, they played Thursday night, so he's
Hmm.
had what's that? 8 days into Anzac Day, 7 days. So, it's plenty of time. They earlier in the season they weren't playing him off 5 day breaks, but yeah, I think he plays with that extended
Hmm.
time off. Obviously, they would have had the weekend off to recover as well. So, yeah, I think Scott Penner will play on Saturday.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, so, they're probably at their full strength or close to full strength, Collingwood. Essendon are in a good run of form. What Essendon need to do is they need to rock up and not get smashed. If
Yeah,
Essendon lose this game by 10 points, all of a sudden, sorry, not 10 points, 10 goals, all of a sudden, all that momentum they've built for the last 2 weeks disappears again. They're almost balancing glass off the edge of a cliff, and any small little disturbance is just going to tip it off the other side, and it's going to fall and shatter, if that makes sense.
oh, absolutely. I think they've had a big few weeks, winning a game in there as well, which is important. They hadn't done so for what, almost a year, so brilliant to see. But you're right. To your point, they need to keep going, and Saturday afternoon footy, Anzac Day is no bigger occasion. So over to you, Essendon.
100%. And young Taylor Byrne, I wonder how he was
Yes.
feeling going to bed on Thursday night. Poor bloke. Pendlebury again, class act got over to him and gave him a hug and made sure he was all right. Um, yeah, interesting game of football to watch. Again, one that could have gone either way. Very similar to the two Adelaide teams. Collingwood hang on against Carlton. I mean, they're bitter rivals. It's always a fascinating watch between these two teams. What do you make of it, Zach?
2 words for you.
Mm?
Nick Dacos.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, his last quarter. He did whatever he wanted. He finished the game with 39 touches, 8 clearances, 8 inside 50s, a massive work rate goal. He was exceptional, and the only reason Collingwood won that game.
Do you reckon Tasmania were watching that last quarter as a football club? Do you reckon Brendan Gale picked up the phone to Andrew Dillon and went, "Hey, can we have another $1 million just to make sure we get this guy down here?"
Oh, they're
Because
going to need
geez,
it, aren't they? They're going to need
uh,
whatever it takes to, try and get him out of Collingwood land. But I just thought in his 100th game as well, what an occasion, and he stood up big time and got Collingwood over the line. He's for mine the best player in the competition by a long stretch.
yeah, it's hard for me to argue with you. Going back to the conversation we had at the start of Origin, would I now bench Nick Dacos after seeing what he did? No, no, he's definitely in the starting midfield for next year. Should Victoria be one of the teams that are selected to play? For what it's worth, I mean they really should be, but that's a conversation for another time. We're not going to get derailed because we're very good at doing that.
Yes.
Returning back to the game, Collingwood obviously 31-29 clearances, so just had more of the ball. But Carlton, for what it's worth, played a brand of footy that was really good. They started really well, and in the third quarter, they actually went on with it as well. It was just that last quarter cost them. So that quarter by quarter and week by week, they are getting better.
Oh, definitely. They play a great brand of footy, and just watching them, going back to gather around as well, just watching them there live that first quarter. The way they were, transitioning the footy out of, centre bounce, which is where, their name is made in that centre bounce in that contest area. But the way in that first quarter they were, chaining through handballs, oftentimes they had crows on the overlap, whether that be one or two guys on the overlap, constantly in that first quarter. But the switch is straight away at, after the quarter time break, whether they come out a bit flat or what, I don't know what it is, but the switch is definitely there, and you can see it live and you can see it on the TV. So, but to your point, I mean, they probably played three really good quarters, three good quarters they can be happy with. But one bad quarter against a decent side in Collingwood who wanted to win for Nick Dacos just isn't going to get it done, and we unfortunately for them they lose another one.
I've just realised I forgot to ask you. I'll get your best on ground for Gold Coast Essendon, then I'll get your best on ground for Collingwood Carlton too.
Christian Petrarca for mine, I believe he was returning 25-3. A big part why Gold Coast ended up getting over the line, I think.
Yeah, I'm going Archie Roberts
I like that.
for my best on ground. I thought he was really good. Darcy Parish probably an unlucky one.
Yes.
This one's gonna be interesting Brownlow medal night as to who gets the three
Mm.
votes and whether or not the umpires go completely rogue than us. Collingwood Carlton for yours. Surely we're both in agreement here. I think he wears the number 35 and he plays for Collingwood.
Yeah, Nick Dacos. Can't go
Yeah, yeah.
past him, can you?
Yeah, no, you can't. I think this new segment will have a lot of end day costs.
It
Three
will.
votes, please, and thank you. Let's go have a look at Melbourne Brisbane. Good game of footy. Melbourne just to get over the line. Brisbane, it was a very interesting game of football to watch. What was your first thoughts there, Zach?
I thought it was an exceptional game. For first and foremost, not just the game, the atmosphere. I don't know if you caught this one, but they had the Jim
Bits and
Steins
pieces.
match. Yes,
Yeah.
so the atmosphere at the ground was exceptional. Guinnesses all day. What more can you ask for, really? They had the Irish jig going as well, so bit of a fantastic atmosphere. Something a little bit different. I'm liking Melbourne at the moment. I don't know about you, but they've got a little bit of swagger, a little bit of fun. Stephen King's come in and he's brought an excitement that we haven't seen from Melbourne for a very, very long time. Obviously, home games they get to come in, dressed up however they like, not in
Mm.
uniform, not in D's uniform. So, and it's translating onto the field as well. They play an exciting brand of footy. They're probably one of, or if the best team in the competition to watch at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting because I watch what I can of everyone else, but I don't often go back and watch teams if I don't see them live unless they're the Saints. Melbourne are the one team in 21 years that I've broken my exception that I've had an exception for that because they're just so much fun to watch. So I actually missed this game live, but I went back and watched it instead of watching the Derby, and it was a really great game of footy to watch from a Melbourne perspective. You take out that second half against Essendon, it was
Oh
just
yeah.
everyone has off quarters, off days. I think they're the most exciting brand. I think they're the most exciting brand in the AFL and the most exciting team to watch at the minute if you're a neutral. If you're playing against them, it's probably less fun because they're a little bit unpredictable, which means you're not 100% sure what they're going to do. And they seem to as well when the game's tight. They seem to just find a way to win as well, which makes them hard to play against.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen a bit of a clip about Max Gawn. I mean, suggesting last year that they were in games and losing, winnable games, as he mentioned. But this is definitely a losable and a winnable game, and they're now winning, winnable games, which is great to see. Against the quality side, I don't think Brisbane lowered their colours at all. I felt like they played,
Mm.
probably not 100% at their best, but they played well enough for mine. So fantastic win. Again, putting 104 points on the board, which they've done numerous times this year. Exceptional start of the season, 4-2, could have easily been 5-1, which is an exceptional start. From the turmoil they've had over the last couple of years in particular.
We're a win and loss business. To
Mm.
go back to your point about Brisbane, the AFL is a win and loss business. It's how we judge club successes. We don't judge them based off great vibes, as you know you'll know, and everyone listening to
Yeah.
this will know. Brisbane 3-3. Are they in some trouble?
I don't think you can suggest a Brisbane team with the quality they've got in there, and what we've seen, in recent years. I don't think you can say they're in trouble. Again, not a great start to the year, but I think they're a team that knows now that you have to be peaking at the right time. We've seen it in recent years. Go back last year, the Crows peaked at the absolutely wrong time. You could probably suggest
Mhm.
Collingwood did as well. I mean, they had a hot start to the year, 11-1 to start the year, did Collingwood, and then faded out and unfortunately falling out in a prelim. So I think over the last couple of years, they've done it right, peak at the right time. So I'm not concerned at all with how Brisbane are playing at the moment. They're still playing okay in patches. I mean, they've still put up 23 scoring shots. So, sorry, 27 scoring shots, in fact. So, which is more than Melbourne had themselves. So, no, to answer your question, no, I'm not concerned with Brisbane's play at the moment at all.
Best player on the ground?
Geez, that's a tough one, actually. I didn't mind Harvey
Mm.
Langford's game. I thought he was impressive. 27-3. He was huge for the Demons. Lockie Neal, of course, in the middle for the Lions was impressive as well. Ahead of the footy, Jacob Van Rooyen does it again, kicks three, but I might have to go with the guy I mentioned first. Harvey Langford, playing that wing role, middle role, 27-3. Harvey Langford gets my three votes.
Yeah, I don't often. I mean, I'm looking at the stats now, but I don't often when I see the game go based off stats. I thought Will Ashcroft on Sunday night. I remember thinking, geez, he looked good. It's the answer I'm sticking with, but Harvey Langford probably a little bit unlucky that I didn't say his name here as well. But Will Ashcroft was the player I went with there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah, that was a very non-committal answer either way from me, but that was my answer. The other games were a bit of a blowout. I mean, the Swans too good for the Giants. Yeah, pretty obvious where this one got done in the end. I mean, they were just brilliant to be honest. Sydney and GWS looked off it again. They're still struggling with some injuries. Interesting lightning delay. Yeah,
The
it was
longest game
raining
in
at
AFL
the
history,
SCG.
hey?
Sorry.
The longest game in AFL history.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I had things to do on Friday night and didn't stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning or whenever this one finished to watch that one. A bit like Las Vegas with the FP1 a few years ago when Carlos Sainz ran over the drain pipe and people were still watching at 2:30 in the morning or something. I don't think it was quite that long. Yes, Zach, talk me through the Geelong Western Bulldogs game. Pretty embarrassing for them, and Jezza kicks 10 inside the first half. Not a bad little performance from him.
Not bad at all, not too shabby. Jez is back. The Cats playing a really strong brand of footy. Alarming for the Western Bulldogs. Only 16 scoring shots for the whole of the game, going down by 75 points. But Bailey Smith was impressive, influential in the middle part of the ground. He's had a big couple of weeks in terms of clearances and
Mm.
inside 50s for him. So that's brilliant, but disappointing for the Bulldogs on many fronts, injury fronts as well. Four guys go down, a couple are
Mm.
significant. Our thoughts obviously go out to Sam Darcy. You don't like seeing the best or anyone, go down, for a 12-month stint. But the Bulldogs are going to fall off the face of a cliff now, I think, unfortunately, for a team that I tipped to have a really big year.
So that means no premiership for the Dogs. Where do you think they'll finish then now?
I didn't have him, premiership out and out, but I definitely had him inside the top four. I think they slide all the way out the eight. I think
The
Sam
wild
Darcy's a
card
big
or no?
piece into the wild card potentially,
Mm.
potentially even eighth as well. But um, look, I find it hard for them moving forward without Sam Darcy. He's a big pivotal piece. English is out as well, for a little bit still. Bontempelli's a little bit banged up as well from the Geelong game. Is he going to be 100% for the next few weeks? Who knows? Worrying signs for the Dogs, I think.
Yeah, just on that as well. Just having a little look at the team. They did. they did name Bontempelli, so he is in for the game
Yeah,
against the Swans tomorrow night. Be
that's a
very
big
interesting to
game as
see.
well.
It is a big game. Be very interesting to see how much of that he actually plays, or if he plays at all. Maybe they make the old late change, giving him, every possibility to play. And if he's not fit for it, they may just pull someone up from the emergencies. They may have had that chat already with the player they're suspecting to come in.
I don't see him beating the Swans at all. I don't see him getting close. Just the way the Swans are
No.
playing, I think the Swans will absolutely put him to the sword.
Hmm. Couldn't agree more. Your best from the night? Surely it's Jezza. It'd be pretty tough to give him a pass.
It has to be Jezza, doesn't it? Anytime someone
Hmm.
kicks, 10, that's quite a handful, isn't it? So it has to be Jezza. It can't really be anyone else, can it?
North Melbourne, Richmond. If you told me that, Richmond would get beaten by 75 points at the beginning of the season against North Melbourne, I would have told you you were dreaming. But how good do the Roos look at the minute?
How good are they? Hey?
The smugness from that man. I'm 6 hours away and I can feel your smugness like you're in the room.
I've been on them for 2 years now, and they're starting to pay me back a little bit. I like it. All bad
Oh,
against the Tigers, but their biggest win
mm,
for some time, 75 points. So I'm all smiles at the moment for North Melbourne.
Zach's sitting there going, "Roo-hoo." That was
I am.
awful. But again, I mean, you have a look, not to harp on at the stats, but they won just about everything inside 50, clearances, intercepts, turnovers. When you're doing things like that, you're winning your inside 50 counts and your intercept count as well. You're just going to generate repeat inside 50s, and it looks like they're winning the ball from stoppage as well. They get the job done very comfortably, and it really is it's a bit of an issue for the Tigers because they would have expected to be more competitive in this game. Obviously, they weren't. Back to the drawing board for Adam Uze, you'd have to say.
Back to the drawing board. They've already named two guys to come in, two guys to debut. One of our favourites, Sam Cumming, high draft pick.
Let's
He's going to
go.
go. He's going to be a big player moving forward,
Mm.
I think, for the Tigers. So great to see him debut. But just touching on the game, finishing off with best players, Harry Sheezel. I think was huge again. 39, four scoring shots. But I'm going to go a little bit more niche. I'm going to go with Paul Curtis, a career high
Mm.
6 goals. He's sort of forced a guy like Cam Zerha, out of the forward 50, which is great for himself.
Mm.
Yeah, Paul Curtis for mine. 13 touches, 6 goals was a massive part to, a big win for the Roos.
Yeah, it gives them just. I'm glad you brought up the Zerha thing because it gives them a little bit more flexibility between the two. Can play Zerha in the middle. He's obviously got a lot of explosive pace. This game in the modern game is certainly built on speed. So it's good to have players like that for North Melbourne to be able to lean into. I think one of us has to give Harry Sheezel best
Yeah.
on though. That'll be me. I thought he was spectacular on the weekend. Jeez, he just grabs a lot of the footy. I remember watching his underage stuff, thinking this kid's going to be pretty good, and he is pretty good so far. So it's exciting for him. Brings us to the end of the end of the review. Where shall we go from here, Zach? As I have a look back at the run list you sent me this morning. Let's go and have a little bit of a look at the. Do you want to go power rankings? Top three teams.
Yeah, let's go with it. Yep.
All right, cool. You go first.
So three, I've got the Hawks. I think it's
Hmm.
hard not to have them in my top three. They've obviously started the season well, and I'm tipping them to end up being there as well. But power rankings is all about the teams now and going round by round. But definitely Hawthorn at three. I think they're well balanced, well versed. They're going to find it a little bit more challenging this week. Without guys of Dylan Moore and James Sicily through suspension, ill discipline. But three Hawks, two the Sydney Swans. Much like the Hawks, I think they're well balanced. They've got some, I guess, some inner growth coming with guys like Justin McInerney really having a big season. Nick Blakey was back to his absolute best on the weekend. Swans at two, and at one, I've got my Fremantle. I think they're in for a big year.
Oh,
They've had a great start. Then they've absolutely smashed Melbourne. At home as well. They've beaten sides like Collingwood, good side. Adelaide Crows on their home deck, really good side. I like what they're building. They've obviously got a stacked list through the midfield, forward, front. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I think they've got one of the, if not the best one-two punch in the competition in Amos and in Josh Tracy. Just the way their presence and the way they both attack the footy. and kick for goal is huge. Luke Jackson, the unicorn, they've got that. Sarong, Brayshaw, Brayshaw, a bit of an elder statesman now, still in his prime. You can throw Sean Darcy in there as well. And behind the footy, I mean, Jordan Clark wins the medal on the weekend for best on in the Derby. He was massive. He's been massive for the best part 18 months now as well. And Alex Pearce, I mean, he's all reliable. We saw what he did at the Oval against the Crows, match winner. They've got match winners all over the park. I haven't even mentioned Shai Bolton yet. So huge
Hmm,
props to Fremantle. I think, they'd be around my top three for the best part of the year, I think.
fair enough. So just remind me, you had three Hawks. Who was your second?
Swans.
Swans. Thank you. Sorry, I was
All
trying to
right.
write it down and then I had a moment.
That's all right. Won't hold it
Uh,
against you.
there we go. Rightio. Yeah, well, I can successfully tell you, we have not done the same top three, so I've got a
Interesting.
different
We
top
like
three to
this.
yours. Three. You're gonna love my number three. Guess.
You could go either way here. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna go with North. North were my three.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I thought they were
Yes.
really impressive on Sunday. I know they beat a Richmond team that not
Wow.
many people were
Yeah.
expecting a lot from, but I thought they were pretty good on the weekend. Yeah, they. It's not just that they beat them; they beat them comprehensively. So it wasn't just they rolled up and won by 10 points. They won by 75 points. Obviously, that's a
Which they
big
haven't
statement.
done. They haven't done for a while,
Mm,
have they? Which is
mm.
which is the impressive part.
Mm. And just giving them their props as well, because everyone went after they beat Port Adelaide, oh, enjoy the week in the finals, but you'll lose next week. They did lose next week, but then they've gone on a bit of
Yeah.
a run post that, and they've been really good. So I think it's about time, they got their props. They've been getting them for Zach undeservedly for 2 years, so it's about time someone else climbed aboard your train, I think, mate.
All aboard the
Uh,
North train. I like it.
number two. Number two, the most exciting team in the competition for mine, the Demons. I think
Yeah.
they're pretty good, beating the reigning premiers. I know three teams have done it this year, obviously including Melbourne, but the D's have been pretty good. Their clearance work. They play an exciting brand of footy, and it was a good win. Not a win that many people were expecting from them. So that's why I've given them the number two spot. Number one, Geelong beating the Dogs needs to be recognised, I think. It's a big win. We all said Geelong at the start of the year, they won't compete again. Surely they have to fall off at some point. But they haven't fallen off yet, it looks like, because the Dogs, I mean, I know they had their injuries and Sam Darcy being out hurts them, but they should have gotten closer than what they did. Jeremy Cameron, does he, and I saw them talking about this on Triple M, so, product placement where it's due. Does he kick 1,000 goals throughout his career? I think he's on about 800 odd.
800. How many years are you giving him? How many do you really think he's got left? Two, three, four?
He's going to need at least four, I think, to
Well, he's going
crack
to
it.
need at least four. How many are you giving him? How many do you reckon he'll play?
What is he, 35 now?
Yeah, or did be close to that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe two or three. So I think maybe he'll fall just short.
I think he will. I don't. I mean, the last guy, of course, was Buddy Lance Franklin, but he's 33 in fact, so he could in fact play another three. Look, I don't think he gets there. No.
If he's close going into that last year, so let's say 3 years, he's sitting at 950 goals.
Hmm.
Does he not just play again and back himself to get there?
Uh, Look, I don't think he's that type of character, is he? I think
Hmm.
Jeremy Cameron, the old Jezza Cameron we know, I think when the time's right, he gives it up. Whether that's close to 1,000, whether it's not, I think when the time's calling, he'll give it away. I think.
Well, they might do a U and just get out of there at 999. You know what you're like before you make a century out on 99.
Oh, come on, here we go. I
No, he
don't know how
doesn't. He
that
doesn't
wound
get
its.
that
I don't know
high.
how it found its way back to me, but anyway,
The
it
drive
always
by,
does.
mate. You don't. Well, what's your average this year? 9.9 in cricket. So
No, it's about 15 better than that, but that's all right.
I still would be
I
writing home
tell you
about
what,
that,
I'm
mate.
glad. I'm glad the season's over with because wasn't me finest.
Oh yeah, no, we all have those moments. Do you want to do bullseye?
Let's get into it. I hope you got some good ones for me. I'm ready.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna need to considering I've just given you the almighty whack. So I better know what I'm doing here. You ready? Bullseye number one. And remember, you get 5 seconds. I'll give you a countdown, and then obviously if you don't go for it, you've got it. If you don't go for it, you move on to the next one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Carlton have Carlton have to beat Fremantle for Voss to keep his job. Yeah, right. That was just the warm up. That was just the warm
Mm.
up. Bo McCreary will play for Tasmania.
Oh, that's a good one.
Essendon versus Collingwood is the biggest sporting event outside of finals.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna have to bite on that one. I think
You,
there's.
hang on,
Uh,
hang on. You got to say bullseye.
Oh, sorry, bullseye. I keep forgetting I'm bad
Yeah,
at
go
this.
on
I'll get there.
then.
We're three goes at it now, so best of three. We'll get it on the fourth. I think you have to argue the Anzac Day clash, Collingwood, Essendon. It's the biggest game outside of the AFL Grand Final. I think it's just as big as well. The crowd they get, the atmosphere, the pre-game, the build-up. The press is just as big as what you'd said in AFL Grand Final. So. 100% agree with that statement. I think it's a huge game. As we mentioned earlier on in the show as well, it always seems to be close whether the sides are, even recent years, Essendon have been well down. Collingwood have been making prelims, making grand finals, and it's still been a thrilling game to watch. We've seen some great finishes across the years, ones that jump out. That Zaharakis goal in the rain,
Mm,
Essendon win. On the flip side, Jamie Elliott seals the deal with the match winner after the siren from pretty well the junction of the boundary in the 50-meter arc. So, definitely the biggest game on the calendar, aside from the AFL Grand Final, in my opinion.
it was almost at Richmond Station when he kicked that. To be honest, it was pretty incredible from Elliot. I will go, and this was the one I was hoping you weren't going to bite at. So when I
Yep.
got to half a second ago and you said bullseye, I went, oh god damn it, or tried to say bullseye rather. But I won't distract anyone from my argument. Day one of the Boxing Day test. I think it's slightly bigger. 9 a.m. and we're either playing England, we're playing India or New Zealand this year, or even the South Africans. Everyone gets to the MCG nice and early. You hear the anthems, and it just explodes. It's not a final, but I think it's bigger than Anzac Day just because of I guess kind of the pedigree, and everyone wants to be playing on Boxing Day. Plus, most Australians are severely hungover as well, so it takes real dedication to get to the MCG after Christmas. So I think there needs to be some points placed on that as well.
I don't disagree. It's definitely, a fixture that's up there. I
Mm.
like both, but I like Anzac Day more. But you're valid to your own opinion, as am I. So I'm glad you stated the fact.
That's not my opinion. I would rather go to an Anzac Day game than a Boxing Day game. It was just the only logical argument I had against that point.
Oh, you did well. You did really well.
Thank you. Did you want to hear what the other ones were?
Yeah, of course. Let's run through it.
So Carlton have to beat Fremantle for Voss to keep his job. I didn't think he'd bite there. Bo McCreary will play for Tasmania. I think that'll probably happen if, well, I
Mm.
mean, Callum Twomey is an excellent reporter, so
You'd
there's
be
no
silly
reason to
not. You'd
doubt
be
what he's reporting.
absolutely silly not to take that kind of money because that is overs for a guy who probably should be on half that, if that. I mean, he should
If
be,
that,
if
yeah.
that. I mean, I like his excitement. I like his speed, but really, that's all he's got going for him. In my opinion, a good player, not a $1 million player. He's a good role player, I think, but not $1 million player. Definitely not.
I know there's the old adage of like you have to hit 95% of the salary cap, so you have to pay somebody.
Yes.
But is there not a better somebody that Tasmania could spend $1 million on that they might be more likely to get, like a Riley Sanders from the Western Bulldogs? I would rather see them go and throw $1 million at him a year than Bo McCreary. Bo McCreary is, a premiership player, yes. So maybe he's more likely to walk away from Collingwood. He's not Victorian, he's from South Australia. So, he doesn't have that lure of home. But Riley Sanders is a Tasmanian. At some point he's gonna want to play for you, and I think he has a better upside to him than what Bo has by the time Tasmania are into the competition. Riley will just be coming into his prime. Bo will be sort of 27, 28.
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree. It was a bit of a puzzling one for mine when I saw it come out and he's been on Triple M since, which, you don't see a lot, or I've never seen, I
No.
guess, Bo McCreary on media streets. So, definitely puzzling for your, what is it, Wednesday? Well, it was Wednesday morning. Strange move
Mm.
by Tasmania, I think.
Yeah, strange one, but not unheard of with it when a new club comes in to just splash the cash around. Obviously, the Essendon Collingwood one you bid at, and we had a spirited debate. Obviously, some news from Caroline Wilson and the agenda setters coming out that Carlton and Richmond might not open the
Yeah.
2027 season. It might end up being a grand final rematch from whoever makes it this year. The bullseye was Richmond versus Carlton should open the AFL season. Would you have bitten on that?
I probably would have as well. I think they should. But
Mm,
initially, I thought they should. I do like that fixture. We always know it's coming around. I think there's time within that round, in round one, potentially for the grand final rematch to be a Saturday night, to be a Friday night, probably
mm.
not a traditional Thursday night. They can still have it in round one and not take away from what is the Richmond Carlton, rivalry, the matchup, the round one matchup to open the season. I think it's. I guess they're not going to be strong sides going into next year, you could probably say, but I think
Mm.
it'd be slightly unjust for that to happen, considering it's, been a part of history.
Also, it's nice to, and this is Daniel Gorringe's point, but it's nice to start the season with two poor teams because
Yeah,
then you know the only way to go is up.
exactly right. Well, there you go.
And this one you definitely would have bitten on. North Melbourne is the most improved team in 2026.
Oh, I think this is your best week yet. I think all
Yeah,
five are a
I
hit.
do that. I improve.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I like it. You're big on the North Melbourne Roos now as well.
No,
Uh,
no, 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 no.
you've
You
got
won't
him.
see
You've got
me. I
him.
mean,
You've got him finishing inside the top three. Nah, just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, nah, definitely. I think they're one of, if not the most improved team in the competition. I think you could throw Melbourne in there early in the season as well. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, definitely North Melbourne have still got a long way to go. But the way they're playing as well, and they've been doing it in periods over the last 18 months, and it's starting to come together across four quarters, week in, week out, which is probably the thing they've been lacking is consistency, and we're starting to see it, which is great.
Well, my case for the defense, if you will, was Gold Coast or Fremantle was what I had written down in my book in terms of teams that were most improved. Gold Coast would have been a hard argument to have based off what they dished up on the weekend, but Fremantle certainly. I mean, I know you're big on them as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, they made your top three power rankings, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens across the course of this weekend. Obviously, Anzac Day, which will be good fun. If you aren't getting out to a dawn service or commemorating, get out of bed. Don't be lazy. Go and go and do what you got. Go and do what you should do as an Australian or as a New Zealander. And if you don't know what Anzac Day is, it means you're probably watching us from like America or something. In which case, you probably don't know what AFL is. So who knows what's going on
Keep
there?
watching though.
Yeah, yeah, keep watching. I don't know how you stumbled upon this channel, but hopefully you're having some fun. Rightio, Bullseye's done. SA Deep Dive. I've had a little bit of a look at the player of the week and the power rankings, which leaves us with the week's preview and tips. So let's have a look. Shall we start with what you've just called the biggest game in the Australian calendar except for finals?
Yes, let's go there. Saturday Arvo
Essendon
footy.
versus Collingwood.
Yeah,
The
brilliant.
MCG 250 on Saturday afternoon.
Big game. Big game for both
Mm.
clubs. Collingwood coming off, not one of their better wins in their history, but an important win just outside the wild card finish, sitting in 11th, 3-3 on win loss. I'm giving more of a chance to the Bombers than I think you did. I like their recent form going in. I
Mm.
think their recent form is, albeit not wins and losses, but I think their recent form is better than Collingwood's.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think Essendon are more of a chance. If you'd asked me after that North Melbourne game, do I think Essendon are going to win a game of football? And I think to your credit, you actually did. And I think I said no. Obviously now they've got one. Do I think they're going to win another game this season? Probably yes. Do I think they're going to beat Collingwood? No. Do I think they're more of a chance than what they were 3 weeks ago? Yes. So that's where I kind of sit with Essendon, and obviously it's Anzac Day, so anything could happen. This game's throwing up some classics. You've mentioned Zaharakis already. You've mentioned Elliott. There's about 15 other examples you can come up with. Yeah, it's a good game of footy. I think Danaher kicked a goal when he was playing for the Dons to win the game or to draw the game or something from back in the day. I just remember him kicking the ball and a lot of people celebrating, if I'm honest with you. So who knows what happened there. Let's go Thursday night because I think this game's going to be big. Western Bulldogs, Sydney Swans. Sydney currently top of the ladder. The Doggies needing a big response. What are you expecting at Marvel Stadium from a 7 o'clock kickoff South Australian time?
Look, the venue definitely suits the Dogs. The way they play will help them. Some big outs, as we mentioned, though, is going to hurt them. I
Mm,
mean, Liberatore goes out through concussion. James O'Donnell, Rory Lobb out of that back line through injury, both hamstrings. Sam Darcy, as we touched on as well, goes out. Ryan Gardner's back in for the Dogs. Bustlinger and Adam Treloar, who we haven't seen for a while, has been tearing it up in the VFL. I'm
mm.
glad he's getting his opportunity again. With Tom Liberatore making room. I think it's a big game for him. It's a big game for his career as well. Can it be a game that propels him into the side for the majority of the year? We'll find out. So I think it's a big game for him. On the Swans side of things, Billy Cootie will debut for in his AFL career. Obviously, an exceptional player for Nord over the last couple of years in particular. Heaney's out, which is interesting. Copping an injury as well, and Corey Warner is out. Dane Rampy's back for the Swans as well. So
Mm.
a couple of big ins, a couple of big outs. He sort of balances out the sides. It'll be interesting. Both high-powered offenses. Sam Darcy going out does hurt the Dogs. Give me the Swans in this one.
Yeah, give me the Swans as well. And you mentioned young Billy Cootie's debut. Obviously, a player we both saw in person when we were calling the 2024 Sanford Grand Final. William Edwards as well, also debuting for the Swans. So that'll be pretty exciting to watch him able to run around and strut his stuff as well. Um, yeah, give me the Dogs at halftime, but the Swans at full time. I think.
I like that. That's a little good one to get on sports bet. Gamble responsibly, of course, but that's a good one
Don't
to
start
hit.
promoting.
I remember almost biting on that one when Carlton, who did they play? Must have been North Melbourne. It was North Melbourne. It was paying $8, eight sweet dollars for Carlton to be in front at halftime. They ended up being in front by 2 points, I believe, 2 or 3 points at halftime, and of course lost that game. So anytime you see those sort of odds, is great. So I'm glad you've gone with that line. I might follow it.
Yeah, of course, gamble responsibly, and please
Yes,
don't take our advice. We take no.
we are not
I have to
professionals.
say this now. Legal are going to get in the ear. Legal, of course, is me with my Year 12 level of legal studies training. Uh, Legal have said to me, don't take our advice. We are not professionals. We don't know what we're doing. Please, if you hear something and you think it's a good idea, by all means, it's your money, but we take no responsibility for your financial losses if you decide to listen to us. Let's go Anzac Day Eve and very quickly sweep that under the rug before Zach gives out any more gambling advice I've got to legally speak over the top of. Richmond and Melbourne. Melbourne in some fine form. The Tigers less so. What are we expecting here, Zach?
I'm expecting a bloodbath. The injury
Mm,
pile just keeps on going for the Richmond Footy Club. They're in dire straits in that area, unfortunately. It's killing them. We're seeing a lot of guys debut when they're essentially not ready. Young guys are getting beaten up. They have over the last 18 months they've had a losing margin of almost 10 goals, which hurts young footy sides, hurts young players. I'm giving them zero chance to get this job done. I think Melbourne's form is too strong. The way they're playing fast. Richmond they're just not going to be able to handle it, in my opinion.
I'll give him the same amount of chance that you get out of a girl that's giving you one word replies. They've got that much chance, I reckon, the Tigers this weekend. But I don't think the Wind's going to be interested in messaging them back, if I'm honest with you. So I think Melbourne get this job done pretty comfortably. I'm much with you. Obviously, a 7-10 first bounce at the MCG. That's obviously all the times I read out are going to be SA times. So. Yeah, should be a good game of footy to be honest between the Tigers. Sorry, it should be a good game of footy for the Melbourne Footy Club. If you're of the Richmond persuasion, might be worth putting on the notebook or anything else because it could be quite ugly very quickly, I think.
Put on the 2017 highlights or something like that, because
Yeah.
you're gonna have a couple of rough years, I think.
Yeah, but it's all right though. You got a lot of good kids, and I think their debutants will be worth watching. In a more serious note,
Yeah.
yeah, Sam's going to be good, and they've got another one as well who looks quite good, who should be worth having a little bit of a watch. We should go and we should have a look because I've been quite remiss of this. Let's go to the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide Geelong. This is the week for mine where Port can back up what they did against Hawthorn. This is what it's about for Josh Carr and his Chargers. They've done it for 1 week. Can they do it for a second week when they're coming up against a very good team? Again, very similar to an
Mm.
Essendon situation where they've got a little bit of momentum. I know they lost the game, but they've got a little bit of momentum and they have to keep going on with it. They had momentum against the Saints. They were good for portions of that. By the way, congratulations to Zach Butters for getting out of what was a ridiculous
Thank God.
charge in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God. The game was gone, but we got it back for a few more minutes at least. And Port and Geelong. I mean, it's an interesting game. I think the Cats get it done, but I don't think it's as easy as I think it's going to be, especially with a hostile Port Adelaide crowd.
Oh, definitely. I think you stole the words right out of my mouth there. I think it's Cats game to win, definitely. In saying that though, I think it's going to be close, especially if we get the Port side, with some of their better players coming to play again. You talk of Butters, Horn Francis, Ollie Wines, Willem Drew. I think Jordan Sweet needs a big game in the ruck. Obviously, Geelong have quite an inexperienced ruck, and they have, struggled in that department for a number of years. So I think he needs a big game. I think Mitch Georgiades ahead of the footy is going to be hard to stop as well. So I think it's going to be a cracking game. Obviously at the Adelaide Oval as well. As you said, Port fans behind them. I'm giving them every chance to get this job done. I think they're 4 goal favourites are the Cats. I think that margin it is quite comfortable in my opinion. If you get
Mm.
four goals close to Geelong at home, I think that's a pretty good result.
Yeah, 6:05 first bounce. I'm going the Cats to get it done. I think I said that, but
Yeah,
I'll just double check,
double.
double cross there. Brisbane and the Crows. This one could be quite good from the Gabba. That's a 2:45 bounce. Could be quite an interesting game of football, I think.
It'll be definitely an interesting game. I think recent results up at the Gabba have been, quite close. But I'm not giving much of my side any chance of winning. I'm not saying they're going to get absolutely smashed, but this is just a game where Brisbane won't lose, in my opinion. I believe.
Yeah, hard with it being up in Brisbane. If this
Yeah,
game's in Adelaide, you
definitely.
probably give the Crows a little bit more of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
chance. Obviously, they played a classic. I think the June long weekend last year. That
yes,
was a
they
great
did.
game of footy.
Yeah.
Um, I will give you more of a chance than what you are. I think your midfield, if you're able to get in there at the coalface with them, and Melbourne proved you didn't have to do it. Melbourne proved you had to do it last weekend. If you're in there with them at the coalface, you beat them there. You might go a little bit of a way to being able to beat the Lions, but the Crows certainly have the midfielders to do it. Dawson, does he return? Obviously, it's a hard time for him, obviously. So he'll be taking all the time he needs to make sure that he is right to go again. But yeah, it could be a very interesting game of football for mine. Certainly the game of the bunch on Sunday. But that's not saying a lot when you have a look at the other teams that are playing. Obviously, North Melbourne aside, no one else is inside the top 10. So very interesting to have a little bit of a look at those games. We'll go to the 4:10 game. We're at Manuka Oval, GWS and North Melbourne. The Giants are favourites. I think North win this game.
North win this game and they get it done. I think this will be a big win for them as well. Away from
Mm,
home, tough conditions. They're used to playing in quite nice conditions under the lid at Marvel. This will be going in as quite, heavy underdogs, aren't they? At $2.87. So interesting in that fact, considering their form. But yeah, I'm with you. I like the Roos in this one.
And I just realised I didn't actually give a tip. I'm going to tip the Crows. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, I think your
Yeah.
midfield gets it done for you. We'll go right up Saturday afternoon, 12 p.m. We're going down to Launceston, Utah Stadium. The Hawks and the Suns. This one's a very tasty game of football. I'm thinking it could go either way, really, this one.
I don't think conditions suit the Suns at all in the way they play. I think Hawthorn are quite used to playing down there. Being at 12 p.m. probably helps the Suns a little bit. It's pretty
Mm.
tough to play down there in Tassie when the sun goes down. I've been up there and watched the game. It's quite tough viewing as well. Um, yeah, give me the Hawks in this one and give me the Hawks quite comfortably, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my line again, and please don't go on a gambling rant, Zach. Suns to lead at halftime, Hawks to get it done in the end and comfortably too. I think they'll really explode in the second half. I just think the Suns will come out breathing a little bit of fire because of how they played last week. They would have been disappointed, I think, even though they got the result. So I think they'll come out breathing a little bit of fire. Maybe lead at quarter time, but end up losing the game quite comfortably. I think the Hawks will get the job done there. We'll go Saturday night, 7:45 first bounce off the stadium in Perth, which will be a twilight game for them. Freo Carlton.
Bloodbath. I think can't get done. They get done from the very start. I think Fremantle kick the first 5 goals of the game, put them away early, and put them away by about 80 points, I think. Going to be a bad night
That
for
would
done for the club.
I know how good Fremantle are. That's not what I'm saying here. But for Carlton to rock up and get done by 80 points, it undoes the good work they did last week by staying in the game for longer. Obviously, they were right. They were there right till the last second. They were beating a pretty good Collingwood side up till about three-quarter time. Fremantle come through, roll them, which I actually think at Optus Stadium is a very good possibility. That would be very, very bad for Carlton. Do I think Fremantle will kick the first five goals in the game like you're thinking? No, I give Carlton starts a little bit more promise than that. Carlton should really start selling half game memberships. You might get some sales there. Just kick everyone out of the MCG at half time and you can all go home.
Well, I think
Um,
they're 5-1 in first halves or something like that. So it's if you
yeah.
cut the game off there, like you're saying, geez, they're off to a flyer.
I don't think they'll lead at halftime. I think they'll be closer at halftime than what they will be at full time. I think it'll be something maybe 10 goals. I'll be a little bit more lenient than you are. But Fremantle to win and Fremantle to do as they like on Saturday. For some reason, we always seem to end up with St Kilda, so I've decided to stick with that tradition. My boys, we've got the Eagles, a 12:40 bounce from Marvel Stadium in Melbourne. If you are a St Kilda fan, you want to get down to the game. This is not free advertising, but it's very easy to get to Southern Cross and very easy to get to Marvel Stadium from Southern Cross. So get down there, show the boys some love. The Saints, dollar on one favourites against the Eagles. You would suspect they get the job here, especially considering what West Coast dished up a couple of weeks ago. Or
Definitely,
a
I'm
week
with you. I think
ago.
the Saints get the job done. I think it's a big game in terms of putting the foot on the throat, getting the job done quite comfortably is important here. Against a West Coast side, you don't want to give them a sniff either. They're quite young. They'll take all the confidence they can get, but you can knock them over by coming out, starting hot, kicking the first few goals of the game, and not really giving them a chance at all. I think that'll be the case. I think they've been building quite nicely. I like what they did on Saturday night. Obviously, watching their game a little bit more closely than I have, their first few games being, against the Adelaide Crows, of course. But the way they're moving the footy, in particular, again, the way they did against the Adelaide Crows, I quite liked. And given under Marvel Stadium, that only further enhances that as well. So.
Mm.
Looking forward to seeing, St Kilda back it up and back it up with a really strong performance.
Yeah, the Saints play Marvel Stadium really suits the Saints.
Yeah.
That run and dash, the guys we've got in there that are able to do that. Um, St Kilda should win. That being said, it would be very St Kilda-ish to lose. So that's that's what I'll say there. But yeah, the Saints for mine, I think they should get the job done. Of course, next week when we do our previews, don't forget Adelaide Port Showdown
Showdown
59
week.
it is. Yeah, the Crows. Now, I was trying and trying desperately, but we are actually broadcasting on Too Dry from a new stadium. So I've had to stay behind and make sure that that broadcast goes off without a bit of a hitch. So I'm actually going to be in the Silver City doing a bit of broadcasting myself on the Saturday there, Zach. But I'm assuming Crows home game. You remember you get access for free. Please tell me you'll be there.
I'll be there. Bit of a later start than usual.
Hmm.
For the Adelaide faithful, a 7:40 start here in Adelaide, which is a bit later than I would have liked on a Friday night, but that's okay. I'll still get down there, see my boys win, and I'm tipping a bit of a closer one than you probably would have thought early on in the season. I think the way Port Adelaide are starting to play, getting a bit of confidence back in some of their key guys. I think it'll be a bit of it should be a really, really good game. Conditions suiting.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll see you in Cherry or in the Woolshed after the game.
Come on, man, settle down.
He's just said you've done that whole promo just for the drive-by, haven't you, Lockie?
Yes,
Yes, yes, I have. Zach, I think that wraps up our week though, mate.
yes.
That was good fun. Hopefully everyone that's watched this has watched to the end and you guys have enjoyed it, enjoyed our insightful analysis of your footy club and your I guess kind of predictions heading into round 7 of the season. And obviously what we thought about round 6 as well. Zach and Lachlan Sports Watch. Over and out for this week. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.